to I Finance Mortgage. I'm your host, Tiffanie Phillips, and today I have Bailey Coleman with me. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good.
Good.
Thank you so much for joining me. Bailey is a real estate investor, and he is also an account executive and a capital raiser. So amazing, like so much knowledge. So he is here today to kind of share some of his expertise and how he got started in investing. So thank you again so much for coming.
Of course.
To get started here, why don't you just kind of tell us like how you got into investing, and then maybe like how long you've been doing it, and just maybe pinpoint a little on the capital raising.
Of course. First off, Tiffany, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate that. But yeah, just a little bit of background about me. So I've been investing for about 2.5 years.
Wow.
It's been a very long journey. And I started, anyone that's looking to start in investing in real estate, I highly recommend you start with your education. And that is how I started, right? So I invested into myself. What happened was I knew real estate was the vehicle that I wanted to use in order to create generational wealth. So I started going to these free meetups and just masterminds in real estate. And I met my first mentor, who I ended up hiring to teach me real estate investing. Yeah. His name is JJ Jahara. Shout out JJ. Yeah. So what happened was I heard his story, and I could just tell he was very genuine, and he was, a family man, a businessman, and he was talking about investing in Cleveland, Ohio. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually from Cleveland, so I decided to talk to him, and really I just knew that I needed to get the information that he had and implement his blueprint. And that's exactly how I started with, I hired him, and I went from 0 to 7 doors in under 1 year.
Wow. So impressive.
So that's kind of how it started.
And me personally, I just saw both of them recently. I met Bailey even months ago at a meetup. So these investor meetups are no joke. I have met amazing people there. I did also get to see his and am also going to talk with your mentor as well. But absolutely amazing. And so with 7 doors already under your belt and 1 million capital raised, what initially drew you to the Ohio market?
So Ohio is very interesting, right? So not to get political, but Ohio, if you look at the macroeconomics of it, is a red state, right? And what that means is they favor landlords over tenants as far as the laws, the policies. Yeah. So when you're investing, I would say, first off, look at the market you're investing in, right? California, for example, is a blue state, right?
A tenant. So it's going to be leaned more towards the tenants, which can you kind of get on that a little bit? Like, what would be some examples that, like, if they can stay a certain amount of time, or maybe just pinpoint on a couple of those, like, examples?
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, you do loans, right? I'm sure you work with a lot of investors that are looking to buy properties. I'm sure you heard of stories, but basically in California, because it is tenant friendly, the laws favor tenants for eviction, for example. So I have friends, Tiffany, I'm sure you know people where they have a tenant not paying rent, or maybe they have an Airbnb, and it just favors the tenant, so it's like they can't do anything to get them out.
Yeah, if they're not paying for like a month or two, they technically cannot get them out of there.
They can't do anything.
It's going to be like a really long process.
They have to go through the legal process. But however, in Ohio, because of the laws, if they're not paying rent, I can file an eviction notice within 5 days of them being late. Right. And again, I'm not in the business of doing that. I don't want to evict anyone, but that's just,
30 days.
So it's just better.
That's super, that And again, like if somebody, and I feel like sometimes our minds don't go there, but if the tenant isn't paying their rent, where does it go? Like it's, you will have to cover that. Like,
correct.
And what if you have multiple doors? So 100%. I feel like that is 100%. Like definitely, if you're going to get into investing, make sure you're really going into those laws of each
correct
state.
And one thing I want to touch on that, Tiffany, is as an investor, we get into this game to make money, right?
Yeah.
So this is not this is not a charity case. We're not providing free housing. So yes, we do provide safe, clean housing, right? It's very fulfilling when you're providing housing for a family, right?
Yes,
you want it to be a nice house. But if I'm breaking, excuse my language, if I'm breaking my ass to make sure the house, and I'm investing my money into it, I expect you to pay the rent, yes. Right? So that's how I kind of look at things.
And to have that agreement. And that might be overlooked if you're in a state where people do know, like, oh, it's more tenant rent. Like, they might just already have that in the back of their mind, like, oh, we can get a little lenient.
Yeah,
Maybe if it's late, who cares? So definitely not the mentality that you want when you are renting or finding your tenant. Like you want them to have that same that same mindset as you. Like, look, this is an agreement. I'm going to pay. You're going to give me a great place to live.
Yeah, so, 100%.
Love that.
Yeah.
And then so raising capital is such a milestone for many investors. So if you could just walk us through that journey to raise over $1 million, right? Is over $1 million in the past year. So just kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, so raising capital is one of my favorite topics to talk about. I'm so, I'm so passionate about talking about it. And I will say that raising capital is a superpower no matter what, whether it's real estate or you want to buy businesses, it's just a superpower.
Yeah.
And I will start off this conversation by talking about this, right? So I went into the bank the other day and I recorded the whole conversation with the banker. Oh, and you can do this. Anyone can go into a bank. It was Wells Fargo. And if you ask the bank, hey, if you deposit $10,000, for example, in your checking account, and you ask them, what do they do with that money? The answer to that question is, and you can Google this, is they lend out the money that you deposit in your account, and they make interest off that money. Yeah. Right? So, I tell that to a lot of people when I'm specifically raising capital because inflation is 7%. Right? So if you have money sitting in the bank and you're earning, and I asked the banker, how much am I earning if I put $10,000 in the bank? His answer was 0.01%. Yeah. So you're earning 0.01% with money in the bank, and inflation is 7%. Yeah. So you're at a net loss. Yeah. That's terrible, right? So that's exactly what I explained to people. Wow. Very simple, and they didn't teach us this in schools, So when I learned that and how the system works, I was mad. So I am so passionate about spreading that because I want people to understand you need to put your money in a vehicle where it will grow while you're sleeping. And that is what we do when we raise money. I've raised over $1 million in the last 12 months. I simply just break down that blueprint and I show them the numbers, and it's facts, right? It's not my opinion. So, but yeah, so we've raised a lot, and again, it is a superpower to raise money because now you're able to get into deals, right? Yeah. So if you're buying real estate, the typical way to do it is, okay, save 20% for the down payment. That takes a long time, especially when you want to buy, a lot of properties. So if you're able to raise money, let's say I'm raising it from Aunt Jackie, and I say, hey, Aunt Jackie, give me $20,000. Here's the deal that I have under contract. I will pay you 12% off of your $20,000 once I sell or once I refinance the property. And now it's a win-win situation because now I'm able to scale my real estate business faster. I'm able to pay Aunt Jackie 12%, and then I'm able to offer housing for a family. Yep. So it's a win-win situation, and I highly recommend real estate investors get into the game of raising capital because it can elevate your business.
Do you always kind of look for do you, now that you're like a year into it, do you kind of have certain people that you just go to now, or is it always just kind of new?
That's a good question.
New? Yeah.
So I'm always looking for capital because no matter how much money you have, you don't have enough, right? Because there's deal flow and stuff. So it's like I'm always looking for more partners. But I do have people that I can rely on. To if I need to ask for my main, so.
And that's but I like how you say that, like there's just, you're never gonna have enough. It's because you keep kind of, I feel like a little bit of that addiction going in, like, okay, now I need to get more.
100%.
You're never gonna have enough. Okay, and then into it's JJ Jara, right?
Yep.
So how has the mentorship influenced your investing strategy and success over the past year?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So I can't even explain, guys. Mentorship is the key, and it fast tracks you to your way to success, right? So for example, if you're gonna be playing a sport, or maybe you want to learn an instrument or whatever it is, you're going to hire a coach, right? And that's common sense. You're going to hire a coach to teach you so you don't have to wait a long time to get to your goal. So that was my mindset. So I'm going to hire a coach, or I'm going to get into rooms with these people that are already doing what I want to do. And that's how I am where I am. It's not rocket science. So I have multiple mentors. And one of the things, before you hire someone to teach you stuff, is make sure that they can talk the talk, but also walk the walk, right? Make sure that they're, compatible with you, because all my mentors, it's business at the end of the day, but also I want to have a personal relationship with these people, right? So, you met JJ. I coordinated that event, and I was able to have him. He came to California
that morning. Like, so incredible. That's just like passion all over the place. I just love that. Like, it just, you're very involved. Like,
100%.
Like when you do things like that, you just see, and even after just meeting him, just briefly, you can tell. I could tell the passion and the and him too, how he got started in it. It's just like, he wanted to build that wealth, and it was more out of a scarce time. And that's like truly
during
amazing.
COVID.
When he said during COVID, that's kind of, I hopped on that, not the investing train, but I started all the loans and everything.
In COVID? Okay, cool.
I changed my whole life.
My
whole life. So I kind of did that too when because I was more in a bar industry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they closed. So I was like, okay. Now on to, now we build. So, but that was, just great energy. He does seem like a great mentor and very hands-on and will teach you.
Yeah, he will hold your hand, and that's essentially what I wanted and what most people want. Right?
I need that.
I
want the play-by-play. Or like you call it a blueprint. I love that too. I call it with my clients, I call it, it doesn't matter where you are. Let's just look to get you started, but like a roadmap. Like, we don't even know where you are. Like, let's build that, that roadmap to get you where you want to be.
100%.
And then what are the unique opportunities and challenges that you have encountered in the Ohio market?
Yeah, so I live in California, right? Okay. So that's far from Ohio. Yeah. So I think the biggest mistakes that I see most investors that are doing long distance real estate investing is they don't have the proper team to help them in that market. Wow. So your contractor, your realtor, your lender, your property manager, that is a huge one. Who is running your business in person when you're long distance, right? So the biggest thing that I see is they don't have the right contractor. And it's very hard to find good contractors. A lot of contractors, they're very unorganized. They're broke. They don't know how to manage their money. And so we've been able to vet good contractors. When I first started, I got scammed. I got stolen from. I got sued. So it's rough, and
But now you're with do you have like your contractor now?
I have, yeah. I have
now. Yeah. Okay, at least it's like a good, like a ending story. Like, okay, all good. Now you have your main man. See, and now that main man's gonna get a lot more, a lot more business. I mean, you're already at 7.
I'm at 7. Yeah.
I can imagine how many doors you'll have by the end of this year. So, but yeah, I feel like a lot of people probably wonder, do you have to be there all the time? So that seems like the key to that. Like, no, but you're going to have to take the time and figure out, and probably, it sounds like, a little trial and error.
Yeah.
Probably going to hit a couple of bumps. But then once you have your team, just like anything else.
Yeah, 100%.
It might take a little bit longer, but okay, that is really good. Were there any other like challenges, or would that be the main?
The main one is 100% your team, because you're not there. So just
you have. Did any of them kind of refer you to the other? Like, so you have a property manager. Is that person in all of your property?
They manage all my properties right now, and they have their own contractors, but I like to use my own contractor, someone who I have more control with, and I can call them right now and they'll answer. So that's how I played that.
And I feel like that's the ticket. That's how you keep getting doors.
Yeah.
Like, don't leave it up to someone else's like side team.
Yeah.
And then what strategies have you implemented to grow to the 7 doors? So we got the team, and then is there any other strategies maybe JJ taught you, or something that you just picked up on the way?
Strategies to grow quicker. We touched on it already, but just raising money, and I want to just hone in on that. And I think the main way to start with raising capital, and also just understanding the financing. If you want to scale, because if you're buying cash for all these properties, you're going to run out, right? So you have to know how to leverage the bank's money or other people's money, which is private money. Yeah. So just understanding the lingo, the language of scaling and financing. So like using hard money, right? If you don't know what hard money is, you should go look what is that. Yeah. So, because that's going to help you scale. And then just raising private money. And what I did when I started with raising private money is I went to family and friends, and because that's a warm lead. So I went to them and I was just asking them, hey, I have this deal. Will you be able to fund it if I'm able to do a refi and pay you back? So just raising money.
Just started there.
That's how I started.
And then, okay, so you've already come so far. Thank you so much for sharing with us. But looking ahead, we could probably just do like the next year, but what are your plans for expansion, and how do you see that Ohio market evolving?
Yeah, so plans for expansion. So I'm at the point where I've been able to just build so much trust with a lot of investors who want to invest with me that I have an abundance of capital. So I have to find deals to put in, properties to buy. I don't have the deal flow. So I'm just focusing on partnering with other investors that have a fix and flip project. So right now I'm in maybe 5 active fix and flips, 3 in Southern California, 1 in Texas, and I think 1 somewhere else. But I'm just in a lot of projects because I have abundance of money.
Because of the inventory is still a little lower. But they're doing a lot in like Ohio, right?
So Ohio is a good market because there's so much development, a lot of growing. Sherman-Williams just built their headquarters downtown.
I hear that's really big. Yeah.
Ohio is just booming, and I do want to buy more properties, but it's just I'm going to be honest, I'm having a hard time finding deals that make sense. So I'm deploying my capital.
That's the time, though.
Yeah.
It's definitely a little like you have to, I do the loan side, and a lot of it's a lot of my investors, especially out here. I think it's probably still a little calmer in Ohio, although I'm not licensed over there, so I haven't really dipped on in those finances. But in California, it's tricky because you could be taking losses for a couple of years because with the
cash flow, you're saying, like
with their cash flow, it's just really tricky to get it. With the high, when the prices are so high as they are,
and the interest rates, and rent control,
So it's really hard to. I mean, even I just talked to an investor recently, and they're like, "Man, they have investor friends that are still doing it because ultimately, location. It's California. The prices are still going to be going up, but there could be taking losses for like 3 years, like 3 to 4, and that was like too much for him. So he's like, no. But ultimately, I think that's more like a long game. But I was going to ask you that as well. So maybe final question. You did mention that you're in some projects in other states.
Yeah, I'm in a lot.
Is there, okay, so you don't mind kind of venturing out of the Ohio market? You can, is that kind of what's going to happen in the next year or two? Now you're going to start kind of dipping in other markets.
100%.
Their rent, what is it called?
Rents, like you're talking about
for the law, as long
as tenant friendly, or I'm sorry, landlord friendly. So I am definitely gonna be in other markets, and my strategy is like for California, I'm in 3 fix and flips, right? So I'm not trying to do a buy and hold because they're not landlord friendly. So I'm just doing fix and flips. I have one in Crenshaw, one in Joshua Tree, and one in Compton. We're doing a fix and flip on a duplex. So. And then I have one in Houston, Texas. So right now when I look for deals, I'm looking at the numbers. So I don't care whether it's in Ohio, California, Australia. It's like, I don't care. So
I don't care if it's a deal and it makes sense and I'm going to get paid and get more, then
so
what a great
that's what
attitude.
we're doing.
I'm definitely going to be bringing him back in a year and he's going to have like 45. Watch. Like at the end of this year. Well, Bailey, seriously, thank you so much for joining me. This has been so insightful. I know that you've probably helped so many people, even just watching, to, start building that portfolio. And, it does not have to be so impossible. Just get them into her, take it step by step, and get educated on the type that you want to do.
100%.
All right. Well, I will definitely have you back on here soon, but thank you again for coming today.
Thank you so much, Tiffanie.
Thanks, guys.